Hey guys, we're back for another talk on Co-op Motorworks and Motorhome Rehab Ranch on Patreon. And oh yeah, hang on. Yeah, I use my clip-ons, in town. You guys that followed me to Ferndina Beach saw me in my cheap fake blue blocker geyser goggles. I don't wear those around. It doesn't look right, so I use these. So guys, we've talked a lot about interior. This is one they just finished. Isn't that cool? New air conditioner, real clean. Really nice stuff. This was going together. But, when you go somewhere and you get there and you set up and you go in the fridge and you grab a friendly broth, beer. I ain't trying to be, and you sit down outside and it's quiet. That's nice, This has very little to do with that. So let's talk a little bit about, we're going to do a series on interior appliances, like the fridge that really took care of that beer for me. So you guru guys that are into this stuff, let's talk a little bit more about some other things. And you guys that are new to this RV world and stuff, let's talk about refrigerators and what your options are when you come to put a refrigerator in your cool new motorhome, okay? So come on with me. We're going to go in the coach. We'll talk about it. Come on. Okay, so this is a GM floor plan. And the original refrigerator cabinet was made to hold, or this size refrigerator fits. This is a Norcold 6.6 cubic foot, 2-door freezer and a fridge. Oh, kind bar. I'll get that later. So this is an absorption refrigerator. And you say, what's that? An absorption refrigerator runs on 12 volts, or it runs on propane. You say, well, how does it do that? The way these refrigerators work is there's a heating element. It could be a propane heating element, it could be a 110 heating element, it could be a 12 volt heating element. But if you ever use a 12 volt blanket, it doesn't really do much. So what it does, it heats the gas. The gas is an ammonia gas. The problem is it's fortified with hydrogen, So it heats the gas, it flows through there, pulls the heat out and blows it out. It has no compressor. Negatives. Very slow. You don't want to go in here on an absorption refrigerator, open it up and just kind of sit there and look for something. Because it takes a long time for it to build its cool back up. Okay, that's a negative. But other than that, in a configuration of 6.6 cubic feet or less, absorption works really well. It's kind of like a one-speed bicycle. If you get too big of a refrigerator, you're going to need gears to make it go. When you do that, it creates too much heat, and now it is a fire source. That's why Firefight has a fire system. If you have an absorption refrigerator, you may want to have a babysitter, call it that, and have a fire system behind it, because if those coils breach because the metal gets hot, it will spew out hydrogen for about 12 to 15 seconds. So that's a self-igniting torch. That's what you want to be careful of. Not the propane part. It's the ammonia gas fortified with the hydrogen. This is the problem. So if you have an absorption refrigerator, get a fire system and you're all good. Now, absorption refrigerators work on propane. Well, they also need 12 volts. The control panel here runs on 12 volts. But the heating element, remember I talked about heating, the heating element can run on propane. It also can run on an electric heating element. Now, electric heat works pretty good, so I would tell you that a absorption refrigerator works the best on electric. but it will work on propane. And it uses very, very little propane, okay? So generally speaking, these work really well in our size motorhome. I would not have, well, I wouldn't have a bigger motorhome. But if I did, I would probably put a home style refrigerator with a compressor in it, and then have an inverter and a bunch of batteries. I mean, if you're crazy enough to have a big motorhome, then you go for it. But then when you do that, the inverter that's going to run this thing, remember Me110, needs to have a babysitter. So you put the fire system on the inverter. All right, so this is, if you guys buy one of these and the refrigerator's bad, or it has an original refrigerator and the Smithsonian's not interested in it, you're looking to spend about $1,200 to $1,500 for a Dometic or a Norcold two-way, three-way you could. Well, three-way, the 12 volt is like station keeping. At night, if you're driving all night and you're not going to open the fridge, that small 12 volt electric element will keep the gas flowing, but not very fast. So let's call it two-way. A good two-way absorption style refrigerator will cost you $1,200 to $1,500. The right one will fit right in there. You don't want to get a bigger one because it won't fit. And then you got to do other things. So look at the sizes, very important. Now, what other options are there? That's $1,200, $1,500. Well, with the new solar systems and inverters and these big batteries and things, there are new options. There are other ways to get a frothy beverage. There you go, I got it out. There is other ways to get a frothy beverage without noise in your motorhome, okay? And not use an absorption refrigerator. Say, what's that? Come on with me, I'll show you something. Come on. So this, now, yeah, it's smaller, but this is a Norcold 12 volt only refrigerator. You go, 12 volt only? It has, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's called a faucet compressor. It's a very, very low energy consumption compressor. Remember we were talking about how the gas needs to be pushed, and the absorption pushes it with heat, where it heats it in gas and all that. The way your home refrigerator works is it has a 110 compressor. You can hear it. If you listen real carefully, you can hear your refrigerator go, ee. That's a compressor. Compressor needs power. This uses a compressor. Open it, it recovers real quickly because it uses a compressor. The compressor is 12 volts. That's right, 12 volts. And it pulls about 3 to 5 amps, very, very low consumption. So if you are one of those guys that are going to solar panels, big amp hour batteries, inverters, things like that, this will pull off a 12 volt signal so low that it just won't affect your batteries or your battery banks and things like that. So it pulls residual power, and it still gives you, you know, a frothy beverage. Pulls very, very low current, a little bit, yes. Now they make these in full sized, okay. So the technology has gotten to the point that in our motorhomes of our size, with the type of current we have available, a 12 volt refrigerator today, a new one, is a pretty decent option because you always will have 12 volts. I mean, you know, when you lose 12 volts, when you can't turn on any lights or anything like that, your party's over. No music, party's over. So 12 volt, the refrigerator running on 12 volt, you know, will work pretty well. Okay. Now, are they cheaper? No. Matter of fact, this is $1,000, $1,200, a smaller one. So a really nice full-size 12 volt faucet compressor refrigerator probably is still about $1,500. And if you get the one that's the right size, she'll slide right in there. Now what you've got to do is spend a little bit more energy to maintain your 12 volt system. Be sure it's all set up right. Don't just rig it up, because now you are going to be relying on that for that frothy beverage. All right, so you're still spending what I call a lot of money. I mean, $1,500. You know, check your pockets. Let's see. I got $12. So if you don't have the money and you want to try to do something else, there are options. But understand, with anything that you modify or you deviate, you may have things that you have to put up with, right? So let's, I'll give you an option on another thing. Well, before we go to that, there is a third option of, you've seen these chest style refrigerators. Now, you know, cold air drops. So a refrigerator that doesn't open like this and dump all your air out, a refrigerator that opens from the top. You've seen these portable chest refrigerators, they work really well. Built a coach one time, we had 2 of those. One down low, one up high. The one up high had beer and what have you. The one down low had Coke and pop in it for all the kids. We could make one freeze, one refrigerator, 2 refrigerators, 2 freezers. So 2 of those little chest refrigerators, if you could work it into the cabinet, which is another, again, anytime you do a modification, you're going to have to deal with things. And to mount 2 of those chest style refrigerators in this location, probably have to do some slides or things like that. So you're having to put up with things. And that's all up to you to make your decision on what to do. Okay, so there's options on those. 412 volt and 110. They're real nice. Well, let me go show you another way to do it. If you know the concept of what's your energy source, what's your energy consumption, what is your physical limitations, you know, you can come up with something. This cabinet will accept a 24-inch wide refrigerator. The curve in the back will only let you go up to about 56 inches or 52 inches, I believe. You look at the size of the refrigerators because they've standardized. If you go up too high, the curve on the back will not allow you to put it in. So make sure you get your sizes right. And if you have something like this, you say, well, why did this guy do this? Well, this is a travel machine. We built it originally as a travel machine. He said, I'm never going to be camping in it or sleeping in it, but I got to have some drinks and what have you. And I need some storage place to put some things. And so this was made up for him. You may be able to work refrigerator and freezer in this size, but if you can't, boy, that thing's already cold. Cool. If you can't, then you need to get a larger one. This is a bit small, but, you know, think about it. If you're going to camp for 3 days, this is probably going to do it. You know? All right, well, come on inside. I'll give you another idea, and if you know the concepts, you'll understand what this is about, okay? Come on in here. All right, back in, this is JG, this is my coach. By the way, we need to confirm the apparent. Scarlett said that I was starting to sound like I needed to have a drink. She was right. So, this is my coach. And, of course, I'm a lab rat. Right? And isn't this refrigerator cute? It's a Frigidaire. But the only thing that's the right size are the handles and the logo. Little tiny thing. Cute, isn't it? Wow. It's 110, okay? Say 110, well, what's that going to be? Well, the thing is, right now, well, it's pulling nothing, but right when it's pulling power, it's only pulling about 40 watts, 50 watts. Okay, this is a meter I got set up for it. So it's a very, very low consumption 110 AC refrigerator. Okay, so remember we were talking about going into solar panels and, and high amp hour batteries and inverters and things like that. Well, this is where JG is going to go. All right. If you look down here, this is a little booger we're going to be putting in. It's a 3,500 watt inverter. Take 12 volt, create 110. So with some large amp hour batteries, this is an isolator. With some large amp hour batteries and this unit, we'll be able to run this refrigerator pretty efficiently. I made this thing up so I can watch to see how much energy we're using. A lot of folks are putting in 110 refrigerators, even full-size ones. You say, well, how's that work? Well, when you get where you're going, you can plug in. Or if you run your generator, you're fine. A refrigerator is pretty good for about 3 to 4 hours closed up. So you're at home, you cool it down, you load it up, you take off, it's unplugged. About the time your wife says, I'm hot, you might think that means one thing, but it means that you need to turn on the air conditioner, the roof air conditioner, and that sucker pulls some energy, which means you got to turn on the generator, which means the refrigerator will have 110, right? So you can run a 110 refrigerator in a GMC if you watch your energy consumption, you'll watch your time, and things like that, okay? There's no problem at all. Now, one of the things I did when I built this cabinet, cute little refrigerator, got a lot of room here. Got a shelf up here for all my electrical goodies. You know how I'm going to be, you know. Down here, there's enough room for, remember we were talking about one of those chest-style refrigerators, right? There's enough room that I can be able to lay one right there. So between this and that, and this inverter, and some big-ass batteries, and a solar panel, I can use a $500 refrigerator. Did I save money there? Wait a minute, let me think. Let me do some math. I think so. Somewhere down the road, I'm going to save money. So I'll save gas because this has nothing to do with gas. And the theory here is I'm going to switch my energy consumption to a renewable energy source, electricity. Solar to electricity, electricity to there. Now, that electricity is not going to run the roof air. I mean, those amp hour batteries is not going to keep us nice and cool and sitting there all night. Not yet. Not yet. The next episode we're going to do about interior appliances is going to be talking about air conditioners, roof air conditioners, and other options, okay? Because the two things that are the most important if you're living in a motorhome, one, that frothy beverage, and two, air conditioning, okay? Those are the two things. The rest of it, you can kind of hang on. But those two things, baby, you got to have it. So this is about refrigerators. And just remember what you want to try to do. Oh, look at that. It's already started to corrode. Huh. What you want to do is to have a refrigerator that runs on a source that you can get easily and inexpensively. These are some options. All right. So look, thanks for being a ranch hand, and I hope this helps you with your refrigerator things. This series may help you a lot in putting your interior together. Thank you for support, and if you think this is valuable, get involved. Look, see you next time. Thank you.